scary, Grandma. It's fun to be dead.
Lee Cronin's take on The Mummy has sparked widespread curiosity because it represents a significant shift in how the classic monster is being reimagined for modern audiences. For decades, the character of the Mummy has been portrayed in various tones, ranging from gothic horror to large-scale adventure spectacle. Cronin's vision signals a deliberate return to darker, more intimate horror focusing on dread, decay, and the terrifying consequences of disturbing ancient forces that were meant to remain undisturbed. This new interpretation aims to strip away the romanticized adventure elements that dominated earlier versions and instead place the emphasis firmly on fear, psychological tension, and the disturbing physicality of a resurrected corpse. The story unfolds around the discovery of something ancient and forbidden, an object or resting place that should have remained sealed beneath layers of time and sand. The film presents this discovery not as a triumphant archaeological breakthrough, but as the beginning of a slow-burn catastrophe. From the moment the ancient seal is broken, subtle signs begin to suggest that something has gone terribly wrong. Small, seemingly insignificant occurrences, unexplained illnesses, strange sounds, and a growing sense of unease gradually escalate into undeniable evidence that the past has awakened and is now pushing back against the present rather than portraying the mummy as a straightforward monster that chases victims through dark corridors. The film builds its horror around the idea of an ancient curse that spreads like a disease, corrupting everything it touches. This approach aligns with Cronin's established style of body horror and visceral tension, emphasizing the grotesque transformation of human bodies and the psychological terror of losing control over one's own physical form. The mummy is not just a creature to be feared, but a symbol of decay and the inevitability of death, reminding characters that some forces are older and more powerful than any modern understanding of science or medicine. The characters at the center of the story are not fearless adventurers, but ordinary individuals drawn into a nightmare they cannot fully comprehend. Their reactions to the unfolding horror, fear, denial, desperation, and guilt become the emotional backbone of the narrative. As the curse begins to claim victims, the group is forced to confront the possibility that their own curiosity and ambition triggered the disaster. This moral weight adds a layer of tragedy to the film, as the characters realize that their pursuit of knowledge and discovery has unleashed something they are incapable of stopping. Visually, Cronin's interpretation of the mummy is expected to lean heavily into darkness, claustrophobic spaces, and decaying environments that reflect the theme of ancient rot intruding into the modern world. Crumbling tombs, dimly lit corridors, and desolate landscapes create a sense of isolation, making it feel as though the characters have stepped into a realm where time itself has begun to break down. The use of practical effects and detailed makeup work enhances the physical horror of the mummy's appearance, presenting a creature that looks less like a mystical being and more like a walking corpse, pulled directly from a grave long sealed. The film also explores the psychological aspect of curses and ancient myths. As the characters research the origins of the mummy and the civilization that entombed it, they begin to uncover warnings that were ignored or misunderstood by previous generations. These discoveries reveal that the mummy was not simply buried, but deliberately imprisoned, suggesting that those who lived in the distant past understood the danger far better than modern explorers, who dismissed their beliefs as superstition. This clash between ancient wisdom and modern arrogance becomes one of the film's central themes, illustrating how easily people can underestimate the power of forces they no longer believe in. Sound design plays a crucial role in shaping the atmosphere of the film. Instead of relying solely on musical cues to signal danger, the environment itself seems to produce unsettling noises, whispers carried through narrow passageways, the faint shifting of sand and distant echoes that suggest movement in places where no one should be. These auditory details create a constant sense of presence, as though the mummy is never truly far away, even when it is not visible on screen. Silence is used strategically to heighten tension, forcing viewers to anticipate something terrible just beyond the edge of perception. As the narrative progresses, the curse begins to spread beyond its original location, demonstrating that the threat cannot be contained by simply resealing the tomb. Objects that were removed from the burial site carry the curse with them, infecting new environments and new victims. This expansion of the danger transforms the story from a localized haunting into a wider catastrophe, emphasizing that the past cannot be easily returned to its resting place once it has been disturbed. The characters are forced to confront the realization that their actions have unleashed a force capable of following them wherever they go. Cronin's approach to horror often involves pushing characters to their psychological limits, and this film continues that pattern by placing them in situations where survival requires choices that conflict with their moral beliefs. They may have to abandon injured companions, destroy priceless artifacts, or confront the horrifying possibility that someone they care about has already been claimed by the curse. These dilemmas intensify the emotional stakes, making the horror not just about physical danger, but about the painful decisions people make when trapped in impossible situations. The mummy itself is portrayed as more than just a mindless predator. Its movements, though slow and decayed, carry a sense of purpose, as though it is following an ancient ritual or seeking to restore something that was taken from it. This sense of intent gives the creature a disturbing intelligence, making it feel less like a random monster and more like a force executing a long-delayed act of vengeance. The idea that the mummy's actions are rooted in events that occurred thousands of years earlier reinforces the theme that history has consequences that echo far into the future. The film also delves into the cultural and historical context surrounding the mummy, presenting glimpses of the civilization that created the curse. Through carvings, writings, and relics, the audience is shown fragments of a forgotten world that was consumed by fear of the very being now unleashed. These details serve not only to build the mythology of the story, but also to create a sense of tragedy, suggesting that the mummy may once have been a human figure whose transformation into a cursed entity was the result of betrayal, punishment, or forbidden power. As fear and mistrust grow among the surviving characters, alliances begin to fracture. Some individuals become obsessed with finding a way to break the curse at any cost, while others prioritize escape, believing that survival is more important than understanding the ancient horror they have encountered. This conflict within the group mirrors the broader theme of humanity's divided response to the unknown, whether to confront it, study it, or simply run from it. The tension between these viewpoints drives many of the film's most intense confrontations. The progression of the curse is depicted through increasingly disturbing physical symptoms in its victims. What begins as minor discomfort gradually escalates into grotesque transformations that echo the mummy's own decayed appearance. This body horror element serves as a visual reminder that the curse is not merely supernatural but invasive, attacking the human body and reshaping it into something unnatural. Watching these changes unfold creates a sense of inevitability, as the characters realize that once the curse takes hold, escape becomes nearly impossible. In the later stages of the story, the characters uncover clues pointing toward a possible way to contain or reverse the curse, but these clues come with their own risks and uncertainties. The rituals and symbols left behind by the ancient civilization are cryptic, and misinterpreting them could make the situation even worse. This uncertainty adds another layer of tension, as the characters must decide whether to trust knowledge from a culture they barely understand, or to rely on their own limited instincts. The climax builds toward a confrontation that is less about defeating the mummy through physical force, and more about understanding the ritualistic and symbolic rules that govern its existence, rather than portraying the creature as something that can simply be destroyed. The film suggests that its power is tied to ancient beliefs and sacred practices, meaning that stopping it requires engaging with those traditions rather than ignoring them. This approach reinforces the film's emphasis on respecting the past and acknowledging the dangers of treating ancient cultures as mere curiosities. By the time the story reaches its resolution, the characters who survive are forever changed by what they have witnessed. Even if the immediate threat is contained, the psychological scars remain, and there is a lingering sense that the curse could resurface under the right conditions. This ending aligns with Cronin's tendency to leave audiences with a feeling of unease rather than complete closure, suggesting that some horrors can be delayed but never truly erased. Lee Cronin's The Mummy stands as an attempt to return the classic monster to its horror roots while also infusing it with modern sensibilities about trauma, body horror, and the consequences of human arrogance. By focusing on atmosphere, psychological tension, and the physical reality of decay,